if you can only remember two words, I'm going to give you the whole tweet storm in 2 words now, if you were paying attention. And these are very important. Both words are loaded, and because I have to compress them down to 2 words, you have to get it precisely. But anytime you are trying to figure out what to do, think of these 2 words. Productize yourself. Okay? So basically, not productive yourself, productize yourself. What you're going to do is you're going to create a product out of whatever it is that you naturally and uniquely do really, really well. Okay? Of course, you have to read the tweet storm to understand what those 2 words mean and to get a lot of the context. But just those 2, you can carry those in your heads. Productize yourself. You're building a product. That product is a set of things that you uniquely know how to do, that hopefully society wants, that you can leverage and scale up. But products by their nature are leveraged. Products by their nature are scaled up. And yourself means that you don't get to compete at being somebody else. Because if you compete at being somebody else, you're not going to be the best in the world at it. And if you're not the best in the world at it, you will not get rewarded properly for it. So yes, it's how you package yourself in a product. It's hard. This is why I say it takes decades. Not necessarily because it just takes decades to execute, but the better part of a decade may just be used figuring out what it is that you can uniquely provide.
I sort of have a single idée fixe that I'm completely obsessed with on the business side, which is that if you're starting a company, if you're the founder, entrepreneur starting a company, you always want to aim for monopoly, and you want to always avoid competition. And so, hence, competition is for losers. Something we'll be talking about today. I'd like to start by saying something about the basic idea of when you start one of these companies, how you go about creating value. And there's this question: what makes a business valuable? And I want to suggest that there's basically a very simple formula that you have a valuable company if 2 things are true. Number 1, that it creates X dollars of value for the world, and number 2, that you capture Y% of X. And the critical thing that I think people always miss in this sort of analysis is that X and Y are completely independent variables. And so X can be very big, Y can be very small, X can be of intermediate size, and if Y is reasonably big, you can still get a very big business. So to create a valuable company, you have to basically both create something of value and capture some fraction of the value of what you've created. And sort of just to illustrate this as a contrast, if you sort of compare the US airline industry with a company like Google on search, if you sort of measure by the size of these industries, you could say that airlines are still more important than search. If you just measure it, say, by revenues, it was 195 billion in domestic revenues in 2012. Google had just north of 50 billion, and certainly, sort of on some intuitive level, if you said, if you were given a choice and said, well, do you want to get rid of all air travel, or do you want to get rid of your ability to use search engines? The intuition would be that air travel is something that's more important than search. And this is, of course, just the domestic numbers. If you looked at this globally, airlines are much, much bigger than search or than Google is. But the profit margins are quite a bit less. They were marginally profitable in 2012. I think the entire 100-year history of the airline industry, the cumulative profits in the US have been approximately 0. Companies make money, they episodically go bankrupt, they get recapitalized, and you sort of cycle and repeat. And this is reflected in the combined market capitalization of the airline industries, maybe something of the US airline industry, something like a quarter that of Google. So you have a search engine, much smaller than air travel, but much more valuable. And I think this reflects these very different valuations on X and Y.
Yo, what's up, Gary?
How are you?
Man? I'm good. Quite brief. I want to document, not create.
Not create.
Yeah, that's the one. The thing is, I've got so many things I want to talk about, man. How wide or narrow do I go with my focus to
As
keep it
wide as
interesting?
humanly possible,
Yeah, and why would that be?
because it's better.
So, okay. All right.
Because the reality is you have no idea what anybody wants to hear from you yet.
Yeah.
So what are you going to arbitrarily pick? There's literally no downside.
Yeah.
That's why.
And would you give it amount of time before you know if something's working or not?
Yes.
How long?
Years.
So a handful of things at once. Okay. Maybe wider.
The
even.
number one advantage you have is the potpourri of your different interests.
It's interesting. I like it.
You know, the fact that I garage sale, sports cards, wine, business, that's what makes me different. And some people don't want that content, and I'm sure when somebody goes through my Instagram and sees this is a post around garage sailing, and they're there for social media tactics, they just skip through it. I'm not charging them. It only cost them 1/100 of a fucking second.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand.
Good.
Thanks, man.
You got it.
I think people underestimate maybe how valuable their specific knowledge is or how unique they are. That's something that is kind of, we all have, self-doubts and insecurities, and we are we're used to walking down the street and feeling not too dissimilar from 10,000 other people. And we study these success stories and it feels so maybe far away. And like those people were so different than us. But it's not like, I think everyone has something really valuable to bring and can productize themselves in an interesting way. And everyone's story can be valuable to someone.
Imposter syndrome is a hell of a drug, man.
Yeah, it's a hell of a drug. And I would say, like, no matter how small you start, like Jack again has an amazing cure for this. His goal is just like make $1 on the internet. Just go sell one thing to one person for $1, and you will feel different. And it will start that snowball, and you kind of slowly build up the confidence. You got to start at the tutorial level maybe, but you're going to keep building that confidence, and you're going to slowly kind of grow your way into finding your audience and find your way through that maze. And just taking that first step will give you the confidence to take the second, to take the third. But you whoever is listening to this, like, you are more unique and valuable than you think you are. And everyone is kind of an incredible combination of their genetics and their experience and their perspectives and their beliefs. And everyone is unique, and everyone has some sort of skill or insight that they can bring to other people if you can learn it and package it the right way and just see what people respond to that you want to bring to them. So that's probably even before the kind of logistical stumbling blocks, is just the belief that there's something there for you to do and for you to add value.